Yo, what up, everybody? I got to say, I will have to say, I'm very, very tired. I'm exhausted. I've been working very hard today, last night, overall. Um, but let me start with the announcement, because so many of you have come and gotten to know me on this channel through the women's basketball coverage. Special shout out to Caitlin Clark. But um, I launched today in partnership with Sports Illustrated a new website called Women's Fast Break on SI. The link is in the bio or the description. I'm sorry. The link is in the description for this live stream. You'll start seeing it in some of the descriptions for the videos going forward so we can cross pollinate. If you notice and you check out the site, you'll see clips from this show populating that site as well. So we're going to ride this W wave, if you will. There's been a little bit of a Google indexing error today. So hopefully that gets all fixed out and sorted out. Obviously, it's a new site, but check out the link in the description of this video. Today, I think I put up 6 articles today, including a couple of news pieces, but also some analysis pieces featuring my picks for rookies of the year so far, the top 5 rookies of the year, a little editorial piece on Caitlin Clark, and some other stuff. I see that Cameron Brink just took an awkward fall in the Sparks game. I'll obviously have to keep up with that. Hopefully she is okay. Nobody wants to see that, of course. I want to talk, get into a variety of topics today, maybe as the show rolls along. But I wanted to start with the lower third that you see there, and that being whether the W. Sorry, I'm like dying. I was up so early writing 6 articles. I also did radio today on Sirius XM from 12 to 3. And as soon as I got done with that, I was back working on the site and now back working here. TBD on a live stream tomorrow, FYI. But I just, I saw a lot of complaints about the NBA Finals last night. Rightfully so, right? The NBA Finals sucked. The NBA playoffs as a whole sucked. I don't think there's any question about it, any ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think, I say this as a lifelong basketball fan, and as a lifelong basketball fan, I was a lifelong NBA fan. I feel like the NBA is in the midst of a crisis right now, in the sense of the way the league has been covered hasn't done it any favors, when everybody's always like talking about people's legacy after every game. The regular season doesn't matter to people. All these things. The best players in the league get shit on by the biggest media personalities, like constantly. That's basically what who can insult the top players the most. That's become the competition out there. Again, load management. The regular season doesn't mean anything. The coverage, I think I saw more coverage of what Stephen A. Smith was wearing than I did about, the game itself and what's going on with the sport itself. All these various things that are like, what the hell? Like, why are we talking about this right now? Is there not a game? I mean, Dan Hurley possibly going to the Lakers got more coverage than anything that had to do with the NBA Finals. And then the playoffs weren't very competitive. The league is looking for a star, by the way, too. Like LeBron James and Steph Curry are clearly the biggest stars on the men's side in the NBA still. And that's why I think you saw Anthony Edwards trying to be forced down everybody's throat. All of a sudden, Anthony, and no disrespect to Ant-Man, but all of a sudden he became Michael Jordan, right? Like it was like overnight. Had anyone ever compared him to Michael Jordan before this year? And I think that was in a kind of desperate attempt to elevate him as an American-born potential superstar with a fascinating, interesting playing style. And that's it didn't work out. And not to say he won't get to another level, but I felt a little forced because so many of the best players are either bigs like Jokic and Giannis, or foreign-born like Jokic and Giannis and Luka. The American star. Yeah, I mean, you got to go to LeBron, you got to go to Steph, and even Wemby is foreign-born. But even if he wasn't, he's another big. He's super tall. Nobody is trying to be that player, right? So I think in that case, you see, a crisis. And then there's the style of basketball that is being played. And I'm not saying it's not effective. It's clearly effective. These guys are basically like superheroes and cartoon characters out there. That everybody can shoot from anywhere. And analytics and skill have essentially broken basketball there because it's impossible to guard anybody when the whole court can shoot. The whole court can shoot from anywhere, and if you get near anybody, it's a whistle. I mean, how do you stop that? And it breaks the game down into like 3-point competitions, basically. Which team makes more threes wins the game, and it also leads to a lot of blowouts because if a team is hot from three, they bury the other team. And I feel like that was something that the NBA playoffs suffered from too. Is blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout. Including in the finals. And when you talk about the finals, you look at the finals and you say, okay, all right, you got the Boston Celtics who win it all and were really a legitimately great team, right? Like they were a legitimately great team. There's no way to say it otherwise. They ran through the East. Now, it was an easy. People had trouble with two things being true, which is that they had an easy path because they did. They had an easy path. All the top players were hurt in the Eastern Conference and made it easy, but they were also a great team. I'm not going to say they're the best team of all time, but they're closer to the top than they are to the bottom. But as far as like memorable teams, they feel very 04 Pistons to me. Acknowledging them and really liking them and respecting them, but not being excited by them. I mean, Jason Tatum is just not an exciting, charismatic star. He's just not. And that's okay. He's a great player. Great player. So is Jaylen Brown. Great player. Those guys are like, who's the best player on the Celtics? It's a tie. They're the exact same tier of player. Exact same tier of player. So, on the other side, you had the Mavericks who didn't really deserve to be. Well, sorry. I don't want to say they didn't deserve to be there. That's not fair. They had no business being there. They overachieved. And now everybody wants to hold Luka accountable for going further than they should have gone in the first place, which to me is a little strange. They shouldn't have been there in the first place. So you have all that going on with the NBA. While at the same time, you have this meteoric rise from the WNBA. And this ain't like no pretend thing. This ain't some strange thing going on here. This is like a legit phenomenon happening in the WNBA. Why do you think I chose? I saw the viewers coming into this channel and I thought to myself, oh, wow, this is a real moment, right? Like this is a real moment. Let me hit these guys up and see what we can figure out. And now you got Women's Fast Break on SI and you've got these numbers all across the board. 6 networks have set records for their most watched WNBA games ever this season. Every single one has featured Caitlin Clark. Michael Jordan. I've said that before. You're looking at Michael Jordan. As far as impact, Tiger Woods, impact on a sport. And then there was the game specifically against Angel Reese and the Sky. And let me give Angel her credit. Like, look, people get more interested in a sense when Angel is around too. because there is that rivalry, there is somebody to put against Clark. And Angel has, a boatload of charisma. I have a piece up on her shoes, by the way, on the website. You can check out her custom kicks. But 2.25 million viewers on CBS, the most watched WNBA game on any network in 23 years. 23 years. So you've got that going on at the same time. And you've got this star, like in this search of a star, Anthony Edwards are trying to make. Caitlin Clark is that. The international team in the NBA, the international talent pool is stronger than the domestic talent pool. So it's harder to find that American star, not to mention the fact that so many of the bigs are dominating in the NBA again versus the wings. Like Caitlin Clark is a American player, a dynamic player, ball handler, shooter, passer, not a big. And I really think she's the face of basketball going forward. I honestly believe that. Like, I'm not bullshitting. I think she's the face of basketball going forward. Across the board. It's LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Caitlin Clark are the most famous basketball players in the world. And at this very moment in time, no one's hotter than Caitlin. But beyond that, you're going to see people gravitating over to the WNBA, which we've already seen. And I think there is a stylistic lore there. A stylistic lore there where you're going to see people appreciate the women's game. People appreciate the women's game and what these ladies are able to do out there, and the more traditional style of basketball. You see the post get fed in the W. You see, regular actions, more traditional actions rather than ISOs and threes. I mean, the NBA is basically ISOs and threes with some pick and rolls spread in. You see more college style actions. I mean, I say college style because that's more on the men's side now versus on the women's side. All those things like inside out basketball. And yes, there are plenty of threes taken in the WNBA. And yes, obviously, Caitlin Clark is celebrated for shooting threes and deep threes. And by the way, Caitlin Clark is taking deeper threes than Trae Young has ever taken before, than Steph Curry has ever taken before, than Dame Lillard has ever taken before. So you're going to start to see that come into the women's game. But there are certain biological and physical differences that make it so that I think, the women are more effective playing that more traditional style as of now, and until that evolution fully takes place. Maybe it will never take place. Hopefully, almost it never takes place, because aesthetically, I believe basketball fans want to see some of basketball as they know it and not what the NBA has become. Again, I'm not saying that as some NBA hater. Like, I'm a lifelong NBA fan. I've defended the NBA my entire career, my entire life. Not a hater at all. But I see this happen. I don't think you can ignore it. I don't think you can ignore it. So I've taken to covering women's basketball as a result. And I wondered, do you guys think that the WNBA is now more interesting than the NBA? Super chat from my man Kevin Zwicker, who says, new site, check it out. It is Women's Fast Break on SI. I saw a couple of other comments. I dropped it in the comment section. I don't know if the link works or not, but if not, you can get to You can get the link directly off the description in the this video. Teddy C. Fielder says, nice website, look good. Congrats, and only one click away from the swimsuit edition. I didn't even notice that part of it, but glad you like it. As with anything, give me the feedback on it. It's another one-man band right there I'm running. And I'll mix it up with like headlines, just like the news, to keep you up to date with my analysis, with rankings and op-eds, columns. I can do all that stuff. And I will do all that stuff. Like I said, I wrote 6 articles today, did a radio show today, am doing this today, didn't sleep much today. Saturn Tea Tree, what's your website again? I want to see those shoes. Angel Reese, it's si.com/on/women's fast break. But it is Women's Fast Break on SI is the name of the site. It's in partnership with Sports Illustrated. Sean, I see your comment. I'm going to get to that. I want to talk about the why it's sick, but let me get through this topic first. I like to get to the member comments first, but I do want to I want to get to Sean's comment. I want to get to the compliments. Sam says, love your vids, bro. Thank you. I mean, I see that. I'm getting that feedback. By the way, I've seen a bunch of requests for All-Star related videos. I'll try to do one tomorrow during the day. And maybe, what I can do is, this is one of the things that these can work in synergy, because I can write a column on it, showing my All-Star picks, and do a video on it. And then everybody's happy. But I've gotten a couple requests for All-Star related stuff. And I will get to it. Today was hard for me to get to anything else, but just getting that off the ground. And then hopefully it starts really picking up. And I think it will, because I think we're, in a real boom moment here for basketball and women's basketball in particular. I never in a million years would have thought this, guys. Like, I say that as somebody, I never in a million years would have thought it. C-Man says, college men's and women's basketball better than NBA, and WNBA better than NBA, yes. College football is better than NFL also. NBA playoffs, what was exciting? Plus NBA and NFL don't even try to the end. Well, one other thing about women's basketball that I think is pretty fascinating to watch, and part of this explosion in popularity is you see more of a funnel system from college to the pros. You see these players that you're following make it from one place to the next. Like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's story has gone from college to the pros. You don't see that on the men's side at all. Nobody's following players on the men's side. Men's college basketball is kind of broken. By the way, I'll be covering college. Part of this site is me covering women's college basketball. Well, it's women's basketball across the board. AJ Shriver says, Robin is like the guy at the circus who is juggling while riding a unicycle around an elephant. Website looks awesome, bros. The sky's the limit. Thank you. I've gotten good feedback so far. I got to get this Google indexing thing figured out so I can get more, I'm sure it'll work itself out. It's brand new. It just launched this morning. But I'm glad people are liking it, I'm actually a pretty good writer, too, Pretty good writer, too. Multi-talented. I'm looking at this Cameron Brink play right now. Damn. She was helped off the floor. Is it a non-contact? I'm going to pull it up so everybody could see. Cameron Brink going down in this game. It's a bummer. Here's the play. that look because it looked like it might have been non-contact. I have to, while I'm not hosting a show, go back and look at it. She was carried off the court after that play, so not great. Looked like she was initially putting some weight on it, but then she was totally carried off, as you can see here. But bummer. Don't want to see anybody hurt. And then I'm looking at the still on the left. Is it her right leg or her left leg? Regardless, like it'd be better if like her knee smacked the floor, right? Like that would hurt like hell, but it's not the kind of thing that's devastating. And that looks like a pretty rough injury. That looks like some sort of knee injury, like a ligament kind of deal. I'm not a doctor. I don't know, but it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Vatamoni says Jones is a 200-pound lady that put her full weight on that ankle. She stepped on Cam's ankle. Let me get it again so we can see. Hopefully I don't get hit with the copyright. Here. So I've got a couple requests to play it again. I did see that she was crying. I mean, hopefully that's not because. Hopefully that was because of. I'd rather her be crying because of the pain than because of like the realization that it's bad. You know what I mean? That's a high ankle sprain. That's my guess. After seeing that last angle there, I think it's a high ankle sprain. Is my guess. Because like a regular ankle sprain, your ankle comes in. High ankle sprain, it goes out, and it looks like the way she was hit there and stepped on that it turned out. And I'm guessing that's what that was. Is a high ankle sprain. I missed it the first time. I didn't see it until the last look there. Hopefully she's all right. Obviously, it's better though that it was contact. I'll say that. It's better that it was contact because a high ankle sprain is a serious injury and she'll be out a minute if it's a high ankle sprain, but it's not the same as an ACL or an Achilles. Those are really the two. Those are really the two. So, hopefully she's good. At this time, the WNBA is more interesting. I want to see how Clark, who defeated the men's college scoring work, will play in the WNBA, and whether she can lead a team to a title in the next few years. You know what's interesting is that the team itself is playing really well. The Fever are starting to play really well. They're starting to play really well. So it's cool to see that take place. And that would make it very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh my gosh. So tired, guys. Thank you, Copterman. You deserve all the success. Congrats. I appreciate it, guys. I do. Look, you guys made this happen too. You really did. I started this show. Not everybody knows, but I started this show because my SI as a whole was in peril. And now then I fully lost the job at SI. So I had like two shows. There was the original show, if you go back through the playlist of this podcast, the original show where I kind of just opened up the mic and went for it and said, this is what I'm good at doing, right? Like, this is what I'm good at doing. Let me do it. And then there was when I thought things might work out and they didn't. like breakdown episode where I was like, how do I have success everywhere I go, but not you know not work out for me. So I made it work myself. But in the quest of making it work myself, you guys took me in the direction, which gave me the idea to launch this site and what's going on right now. So appreciate it. Appreciate it. I got all these messages coming in. By the way, some of the Caitlin Clark, like is I don't know if Caitlin Clark Kent is in here, who said my favorite WNBA commentary comes from Robin Lundberg. He's now writing for SI on WNBA. Check him out. Thank you. I appreciate your account and your support. Same with the Caitlin Clark coverage account and all the people who I've got other people on there. Zito, this is awesome. Always been an RL fan and follower, and I'm getting into the W now myself. Best of both worlds. Then someone said, "Great, make it about basketball, not social media drama." I will, look, if I will cover the stories that need to be covered, but I'm not gonna focus on that and lean into that. Basil Faulty 241 says, "Don't thank us, thank Clark." I've thanked Clark plenty of times. I've thanked Clark plenty of times. Orlando says, "Team Reese here, and you're really hot off the record." LOL. Well, it's on the record now, Orlando. Thank you. I like Angel too. You know what, Angel, if I'm allowed to say, I think is really hot. So, back at you in a certain way, if that's appropriate. I never know what I'm allowed to say anymore. I got somebody else telling me I look like Hunter Biden. Sorry, I'm not a. Is Hunter Biden crack addict? I hope he's well. I hope the Biden family is well. I don't want to see bad things happen to anybody. But I don't know why I put that comment up. Nancy says, "Give yourself time, Robin. You were good at it. Thank you." Bobby Yu says, "You have a lot of Caitlin Clarkers in your subscriber base." I think. You think? I think so. I think so. Let me take a second to answer Sean, WWR member's comment, because he has come over from Denise Salcedo's channel, and I like wrestling a lot too, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to cover that going forward, because I don't think I can really do it on this channel anymore with the explosion of women's basketball, at least not like as a main thing. And Kevin and I have been kicking around the spin-off kind of ideas for that, but I do the SmackDown reaction show with Denise on Fridays, and a couple of people have joined from that, and Sean is a member of the WWR, so I want to make sure I give him his proper time on the show. And he says, "What did you think of the debut last night? Also, that was cool. I got an ad for Busted Open coming in that was cool based off how I found you." What do you mean by the ad for Busted Open? I've done Busted Open on Sirius XM, the radio show. In fact, that's how I met Denise, was doing shows with her on Busted Open, which is a huge pro wrestling show. Shouts to Dave LaGreca and what he built over there. I thought the intro of the Wyatt family was sick, pun intended, last night. I thought it was really, really well done. Very creepy. Production value was top notch. The shot of Chad Gable with the blood coming out of his head and everybody else laid out in gorilla position was really cool. It was a nice tribute to Bray Wyatt while also giving us something new to look forward to. And I felt like it upped the excitement for where WWE's been post WrestleMania. So I thought it was really, really cool. If you don't know, like, Bray Wyatt recently died, very young, died, unfortunately. He had done a supernatural sort of like Manson family-esque character, and they waited, a little while to pay the proper respects. But they reintroduced that aura with the Wyatt family. With Uncle Howdy is the character's name. So I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool, Sean. And we'll talk more about it on Denise's show on Friday. Live, Laugh, Love says website is nice. Just forwarded to some friends. Thank you. It's really cool to see people enjoying it and liking it, and vibing with it. Really cool. Trying to get through some of these comments, guys. It's always good and bad. And thank you, Copterman. I've always appreciated your commentary from the beginning. That I have a lot of Clarkers, but I'm fair and not cultish or political with the coverage. But that's what I've been trying to do. Mike says that Wyatt 6 debut was cool, but they won't be able to follow it up. We'll see. We'll see. It's not busted open, goodness rated Bo. It's busted open. Like, oh my God, he's been busted open. Like a call to the Jim Ross calls back in the day. Good old JR. I once emceed an event for JR in the city. I think it was at Gramercy Theater. Oh, I was hanging backstage with JR, Mick Foley, and Tommy Dreamer for several hours, which was cool and fun. Cool and fun. Alvin White Jr. says, laid in, just seen the Brink injury. Hope she's okay. Yeah. I do too. Let me see if there's an update while we're live here. Cameron Brink. So, I mean, when she got back up, she originally put a little weight on her ankle and then was unable to. So, I'm hoping it's not the worst case scenario. Because that is, when you see the non-contact, when I thought it was non-contact at first, I was thinking ACL or something like that. And, women actually they're predisposed to ACL injuries for some reason. Something about physical composition predisposed to ACL injuries. So that always scares me. You see a lot of women's soccer players have ACL injuries. But when I saw the replay again and saw that Jones fell on her ankle and the way her ankle bent on the fall, I'm thinking it's a high ankle sprain. Which is not good, by the way. That, keep her out for a minute. But it also doesn't, it's not devastating. DS Sai Sahande says, who would you compare Angel Reese to in the NBA currently? I mean, I've made like the Dennis Rodman comparisons in the past. Versatile defensive player, great rebounder, irritant, instigator, great motor. Trying to think of current NBA players she would be most similar to. Because she's not much of a scorer yet. I mean, Rodman was the first thing that popped up because I compare, CC to Jordan and the like. The problem in the NBA is if you can't shoot, you can't play in the NBA. So there's not that many natural comparisons for Angel. I've seen people say Andre Drummond. Mike says Rudy Gobert. No, she's not Rudy Gobert. She doesn't block shots. Angel doesn't block a bunch of shots. I mean, people are going to be mad no matter what I say. It's like, I know she's not exactly like Rodman. I'm just in the, Rodman was also an unbelievable defender. The way he could move around and guard anybody out there. I mean, yeah, Andre Drummond is not terrible. Except for Andre Drummond is not a very good NBA player. Angel's going to be a better WNBA player than Andre Drummond is an NBA player. So that's why it's a hard comparison. Goodness rated both says Draymond. See, but the thing about Draymond is he is a secondary playmaker. He, when Steph gets trapped, they give the ball to Draymond. He dribbles into the paint and sprays it out. Top Gun says Angel is not a great defender. I watched replays of last game, and 3 of Caitlin's layups were right at Reese. She let her put them up uncontested. She's not a great interior defender. She's a versatile defender. I mean, Aaliyah Edwards took it right at Angel Reese, too. I mean, to be real, I think Aaliyah Edwards is better than Angel Reese. I really like Aaliyah Edwards' game. And I don't mean that as a diss. But Angel is a real ball player and a real, personality. And let's let her develop her game a little bit as well. Mike says Caitlin is like Steph Curry at best, Trae Young at worst. See, I think Caitlin is, Steph Curry meets Steve Nash meets Jason Kidd. Those are the players she reminds me of the most. She, of course, where she shoots from is Steph or Trae. I think she plays a lot more like Nash in her playmaking and keeping her dribble alive. And then she also throws the outlet passes ahead like Jason Kidd. Saturn T Tree says Angel Reese is the GOAT, one of one. I've never seen Reese miss a free throw. Yo, look, I welcome all the what do they call them? Reese's Pieces in here. Angel is good for the sport. She's good for the game. She's good for the sport. Happy to talk about her. Happy to cover her. Glad she's a part of it. Glad she's a part of it. For real. For real. All right. Get me in any other questions you guys got, guys. I might run a short one today just because I'm worn down. TBD on a live tomorrow. I will definitely have a live on Thursday, if not tomorrow. I still might do it tomorrow, by the way. I'm not saying I'm not. I just have been running myself into the ground a little bit, and I know the Fever play tomorrow night. The Kendrick Lamar concert is tomorrow night as well, ain't it? It's Juneteenth tomorrow. Mike says, I must admit, I'm on the Caitlin hype train. I changed my workout schedule during the week to get home in time to watch Fever games. I haven't done that for a sport in a while. Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's different. Daniel Barry Sports Highlight says, hey, everyone, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. DS is a member. He asked, how did you know that the WNBA would explode like this? It's several factors, right? Like, I've always trusted my instincts. I say this as humbly as possible. There's nobody on earth who's better at reading what's going to be a story than I am. I did it for a long time in my career. I did it at SI every day. And I'm just good at that. There was Caitlin's college career, and I saw the attention around her, and I saw how well some of the videos I did around her did back then. There was the national championship moment and the explosive coverage of that, which was another sign. I didn't know it would carry over I knew it was going to be big. I didn't know it would quite carry over to the way it did and then I started doing this show. And as I was doing this show, every time I talked about it, more and more people were coming. And so you combine all those things, what I saw from her at Iowa, the national championship game, the attention from this show, my instincts, and I said, okay, this is the real deal. Let me push the chips into the middle of the table. That's the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. David Sprigg says best barometer was how CC sold out games, away games with Iowa. Emmanuel De Sosa says you're one of the very few sane voices out here. Your channel is the one I come to for reliable and measured opinions, no drama, not hyperbolizing. Really cool, man. Well done. Like it's awesome though, like for real that y'all recognize that, like and see that, and that's what I have tried to do. So the fact that it's received like that is great. Nancy says, I missed the Fever already. Was looking on Prime for the Fever game, looking for some real competition. They played so many games early in the season. It's tough. Stafford Lee says, I'm so into Fever games. I'm already anxiety-ridden that I've only got 25 games left unless they make the playoffs. Bobby, I think they might make the playoffs. Bobby Yu says, I knew because of my intuition, my instinct, my discernment, and Caitlin Clark. Well, yeah, but I knew LeBron, too. When LeBron's high school game, the St. Vincent St. Mary's game, was on when I was in college, right? And I went to a bar when I was in college to watch that game. And at that time, I was thinking, what was I thinking? I was thinking, all right, let me watch this and see why everybody's wrong, right? About like this kid being the next greatest everything. I'm going to show them why they're wrong. And then I saw like 5 minutes of the game and I could tell immediately, oh my God, he's a genetic freak, the most physically gifted player I've ever seen. He's clearly a basketball genius. You could see that watching him play 2 minutes. All he needs to do is, as long as he has the work ethic, this guy's going to be everything everybody says. So I hopped on the LeBron bandwagon. Same thing when I heard the hype around Clark. I went to watch her and I'm like, oh, this girl's bad. Shapiro Production says, I came to the WNBA because of Clark. I even have my kids laughing at me for watching. She's a baller and a good person. If it wasn't for her, I would not be watching. She brought me to the WNBA. Look, I think that's the case with a lot of people. And I don't like the gatekeeping that like the OG WNBA fans are doing, right? A little gatekeepy. I also don't like when the newbies totally diss the people that help build the league. There's a happy you should want new fans. And it's okay that Caitlin Clark brought in all these new fans. It's a good thing. They don't have to crap on the ones that came before. And the ones that came before don't have to be like, you shouldn't be here unless you've watched this game on this date back at this time. Nan P90 says, how will Temi fit to this better version of the Fever? I think Temi fits in anywhere. That's how she plays. Chris Boosie says, why does everyone keep putting Reese in the equation? Because she helps. Look, Reese, again, Caitlin is the biggest star. She's by far and away, it's not close, the biggest star. That doesn't mean Reese doesn't help. Like, both can be true. Reese adds to it. And Reese is probably the second most famous women's basketball player on the planet right now. Probably. Trying to make my I still can't believe that guy called me Hunter Biden, really. I preferred Orlando's comment. You got to go back to Orlando's comment. Find that. And Reese is hot. Yeah, that's true too. That doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. See, this is bullshit, Edward. Biggest draw for white. She doesn't draw any other race. That's bullshit. You don't get as big as Caitlin Clark is without everybody liking you. I'm sorry. I guarantee I can see the avatars on a bunch of people in the comments here as well. It's her game. I mean, it's just like Michael Jordan, you know, it wasn't the fact that he was a white or a black guy that made him popular or any of these things. Like a lot of it's just the way they play sometimes. I promise you. It's almost a stupid thing to say. Like, you know, first of all, everybody's an individual, whether you're black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever. You are an individual, right? Like I'm an individual. Everybody in this chat is an individual. They're not speaking on behalf of their gender. They're not speaking on behalf of their race. So whenever I say like black people, it sounds just stupid as a premise. But no one is that overwhelmingly popular without being liked by everyone. And I promise you, because I'm a basketball fan. I played basketball. I was like a token white boy on a basketball team coming up. Real game, recognized game. So many of the fans who are watching who happen to be black, I promise you appreciate and are rooting for Caitlin Clark. I promise you. Just because you get some loud people on social media saying otherwise, I guarantee you that is not indicative of the broad base. Caitlin Clark is... I have a piece up on the website about this. She is popular with everybody, y'all. Everybody. These things don't happen that way. They don't happen that way. Like, you don't sell out all those arenas because you aren't liked by everybody. You don't set all these ratings records because you aren't liked by everybody. And I'm sorry. Like the race, we just need to shut the race thing up. Enough is enough. Thank you, Nancy. I don't look like Hunter Biden. I don't think so either. I don't even think about Hunter Biden. I never even think about it. That's not someone I ever think about. Kevin Zwicker says Clark should join the Knicks. Yeah. The Knicks, if she joined the Knicks, she would wind up on ESPN, right? That would be where they put all the random Knicks on ESPN. I think sometimes the popularity of the Knicks is overstated by media types because the Knicks were largely irrelevant for 2 decades. And they're very popular in New York and they have a massive fan base. But I think sometimes the popularity of the Knicks outside of New York is overstated. And you see, like Julius Randle was on last night for what? What is Fits in the Tantrums? Where's Orlando's? I got to go back to Orlando's comment, the one that called me hot. I'm going to stick with that. Thank you, Orlando. Thank you. BD Smith. Yeah, it's not about race or sexuality. It's about the game on the court. Well, I don't think the women's game is boring because I think we're seeing a lot more traditional basketball. I think Caitlin's game is particularly exciting, and it's made me appreciate the women's game more. Tom on Sports says, what do you think of the next 3 games for the Fever this week? They look pretty winnable to me. Yeah, I mean, I think this team could really get on a roll. I think things are trending up for them. That could really happen. Trying to get through the comments, guys. I'm doing my best here. Doug Phelps says CC is popular because she is good and seldom says anything embarrassingly stupid. Samantha says just gave a cam update. It's her knee. Interesting. Because it looked like on that replay it was her ankle. It's worse if it's her knee, I think. Worse if it's her knee. I mean, we won't know till she gets an MRI in that case. We won't know till she gets an MRI. And those results probably won't come until tomorrow. Bummer. Bummer. Basil guy, again, I love how you keep blaming a few people on the internet, ignore the sports TV people. Yeah, the sports TV people are basing their ish off the internet. I worked in sports TV. I know how it works. I don't think the sports TV people are indicative of the real people either. I think they're using those narratives to generate content and generate debate. And again, I think people are tired of it. I really do. I think people are tired of it. I don't think anybody wants to hear about race with Caitlin Clark anymore or Angel Reese. I don't think so. I think people want to. I don't think people want to hear about the foul shit anymore. I think people want to hear about basketball and style and human interest stuff, like all the stuff that we like sports for. But the race thing is, I think it's such a small part of it. I really do. And that's not to say race doesn't play into things in life. It has, throughout history to a certain extent. But in this case, I think it's grossly overstated. Shapiro Production says 100%. We've got a bunch of black people in the comments here supporting Caitlin Clark. Now, then that's not, just like I say about the other commenters, not necessarily representative of the general public. But what I see is thousands upon thousands of people in the stands, millions upon millions of people watching. You think however much of the population is out on her, whatever that percent is? No. That's a sampling of the broad sub. That's a sampling of everybody. It ain't just white folk from Iowa. Come on. AJ says Hunter Biden looks nothing like Johnny Bravo. Nancy says Hunter Biden is not bad looking, but I'm more handsome and sexy. I'm putting that somewhere. That's going on a sign. More handsome and sexy than Hunter Biden. Basil again. Cheryl Swoops is not making but what did Cheryl Swoops' argument have to do with race? She said Clark is pushing off. Yeah. Paula J says, I'm so tired of people saying the veterans and AR are talking against CC. They're trying to call out the media on the false narrative of the WNBA versus CC. The women are frustrated, not just. Look, I think there's been a backlash to the hype, which is only natural. Like when you're there and you've worked your whole life to get somewhere and your whole career to get somewhere, and once you're there, everyone's like, it's all because of her. You don't count. It's all because of her. There's going to be a natural bitter, or they say like, thank her for your charters, and if she wasn't here, you'd be back to no one giving a crap about you. Like, that sucks to hear and for people to say. There's different ways to phrase it. So I do think some of the backlash was around that hype. It's only natural, but it's going to go away. As Kerry Kovac said, we're all over the narratives. The race shit has to go out the window. Because this is the way people feel. Goodness rated ball. I love Clark because she's a baller. Top Gun. Most of the shows I watch that support Caitlyn are actually black. Yeah, of course. Because it's not a race thing. It's just not. And then we got Rands, who says, we love Caitlin Clark here in the Philippines. Can't wait to see her tour Asia. You know, everybody, yeah, she's popular everywhere. You know, she's popular everywhere. BD Smith says, why don't women support the WNBA? I'm sure they do. There's a lot of women in here too. But look, sports are more popular with men than they are with women. Get Some says, look how Clark enters the arena. It's not a fashion show. She's there to do work. Well, look, Angel enters as a fashion show, and you can't question her work on the court. You know, people are to each their own. Everybody's their own person. They can do what they want. They can do what they want. Oh, my goodness. I tried to get through as many of these comments as I could. Yeah, I agree with this. You know, first time I met Stephen A., I got him a hot dog. Sauerkraut, no ketchup and mustard. That was his order. I used to produce his radio show. I used to produce Stephen A.'s radio show and Max Kellerman's radio show. I'm still good friends with Max. I was his like sidekick on that show. But I produced for Stephen back in the day. Never had an issue with Stephen. But he's been a little out of pocket lately. And I didn't like the shots he took at Max for no reason. But he's a legend in the business and was never anything but cool to me. Kevin says I might need to start an OnlyFans. Who would be down for that if I started an OnlyFans? I once had somebody on Facebook ask to buy my socks, which was so strange. Like, I just didn't follow up because it's so strange. But man, it would be nice if someone really wanted to buy my socks because that's not much of a give. I'll mail you my socks if you're not a creep. Oh, man. Goodness rated Bo says, was he yelling at you all the time? He's a yeller. No, Steven's not a yeller. He's very low key. He's very low key. He's like, and then when the light goes on, he turns on. Doug Phelps won't go to my OnlyFans. Your boy 84 says no OnlyFans. Bobby, you know OnlyFans. Vadim says, yeah, SAS is chill off. So sad that the GU pop culture and everything else, sad that the Incredible Hulk 181 is hiding behind the statues. That's because it's ripped, man. That's the unfortunate thing about it. Like, it was found at a yard sale by my aunt way back in the day. And the corners are ripped, unfortunately. So I have it behind. These are like, I was sent these special edition statues. And that's why I put it next to Hulk and Wolverine, because Incredible Hulk number 181, for those of you who don't know, is the first appearance of Wolverine. The first appearance of Wolverine. But Nancy says I should design my own socks and mail them. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing to get like in your Facebook, man. Hey, will you sell me your socks? And BD Smith says, because Max used to destroy Stephen A. in those debates, that's why he had to go. I think the whole Terrell Owens thing probably was a real point of contention. Steve King says, please convince the masses that Christy Size does not need to be fired. I did a video on it earlier. Check it out. Check it out. All right, y'all. Well, actually, let me look at that. We still got a lot of people in here. Um, what time is it? 8. I mean, my kids aren't even here, so I can stay on for a few more minutes if we get a few more comments. Your likeness on the heels of. Sorry, I thought that was going to be an interesting comment, but it must have got cut off. Shapiro Production says your podcast is a breath of fresh air for sure. Thank you. For real. I appreciate that, guys. Check out the new website. si.com/on/si/women's fast break, but it's women's fast break on SI. And I'm going to be populating the hell out of that sucker. These two things should work in conjunction. You know, I'm cutting sections from my YouTube videos to put on the site. I'll put the site link in the descriptions for the YouTube videos. And hopefully, you know, those two things come together. Rand Sports PH says more power, sir. Goodness Rated Bo says, I like your personality. You have a great showcast. Look, shouts to Kevin and AJ for everything they've done for me since the beginning of this show. Those guys have been real rocks. I mean, look, they're essentially donating to me on a day-to-day basis. Can't thank them enough. Good night, good show, says Steve. I put another in. Steve King says, can we have a beer night when you're drinking too? I don't drink, my man. I have this. No alcohol, though. But we can have that kind of show. If you guys want to do like a happy hour chill show, like even like an Ask Me Anything kind of show. You know, that's certainly on the table. I thought about doing a members only show. Also, doing what I can, y'all. I see the requests. And I do my best to pay those off. There you go, Bobby. Appreciate your objectivity. Only saying this to get a shout out. Appreciate it. Well, I mean, why would I have to duck off camera and hit a blunt? But my blunt smoking days are done. Not that I wouldn't ever smoke a blunt, but I smoked a lot of blunts when I was uptown on 95th and Columbus. I prefer the gummy variety stuff now, but no alcohol. But, you know, when I'm doing the show, generally that's not going to be the case. But yeah, like White Owls and all that when I was younger, for sure. I lived in an apartment with dudes who had been there their whole lives, and they still went by their like street names. So it was Justice, Boo, R.I.P. Boo, Ish, Power, and myself. I was Robbie B, because I actually burned down the neighborhood weed dealer in a freestyle battle back in that day. That's how I got the Robbie B name. Teddy C. Fielder says, look forward to your writing. Thank you. Today was a good day. It was a busy day for me. You know, had the radio, not enough sleep and everything, but the reception makes it all worth it. And none of this happens without this show. And it's the kind of thing that makes me think everything is only up from here. Everything is only up from here. So please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't before. Get your comments in. I will reply later if they come later. And check out the link to the new site in the description of this video, as I'm going to be bringing you more and more women's basketball coverage, because I cover women's basketball now. There you go. Appreciate it, y'all. Until next time, yeet.